But I'm doing well. I'm hanging in there. It's been a wild year, but yeah, I'm just over here doing lots of comedy and making a lot of boob art, like one does.
Oh God!
I think you know that I make art with my boobs, so I do that
did
in
not
my,
know
my
this.
spare time.
Marry me.
That's incredible.
Do we have any examples?
Oh yeah, would you like to see my one tit wonders? Here we have
Man,
a
did I set you
Parisian
up for that.
pufferfish.
Oh,
You really did that with the aid of a boob.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I think this was my lefty. Just bam. Just
I'm-
wham bam. Thank you, mammogram.
I'm
oh yeah, this
really-
is also your reminder to get a mammogram if you're over the age of 40 and a lady.
that is so
Also,
great.
this is a smoking chicken. You know, I
my
make greeting cards, and
God.
the smoking chicken cards were very popular. So
this is amazing.
This is
and
unbelievable.
then here we go. This one is dead sexy. Yeah.
Oh my
Wait,
God!
what inspired you to do
This is a homage. I don't want anyone to think I'm trying to culturally appropriate. This is a homage because I grew up in California. This is I love Dia de los Muertos.
Look, everyone's
Dia
got
de los
boobs. It doesn't
Muertos.
matter that. Well, like, yeah, I guess everyone has
Like,
boobs.
did you one day accidentally fall into paint naked and you're like, well, I got to dry off somehow?
Oh my God. It was the great paint accident of 1997. Yeah, I was living in Venice Beach. I went to 1 year of college at UC Irvine. I was a theater major. And I dropped out and I moved to Venice Beach to be just work in the film industry, really. And I was like a hippie that did a lot of painting, wrote terrible poetry, and made art with my boobies. And yeah, I stopped doing it for a while and tried to be an adult. And then when I was living in New York City in 2018, I picked it back up. I was, just kind of doing the freelance grind, working on Star Talk, and I was like, you know what? That was fun. Let's get back to basics and make
This
art
is
with your sweater cast.
inspiring. And I'll tell you what, that is a hell of a Christmas gift.
You know what? It's
Worth more than my
the gift
Banksy.
that just keeps on giving. They're available on Etsy if you really want one. But it's also just fun. And I do commissions. So I have friends that are like, can you do an otter? I would like Bigfoot. It's fun. I enjoy doing it. It's so ridiculous.
God. That is,
I'm working on a sloth, but right now the sloth is back there, but the sloth looks like right now a sexy burglar. It's not. I haven't
oh boy.
Mastered the sloth yet.
Well, we've certainly told you this before, but sometimes you need to repeat important things like this. Everyone and their mother feels that Joanne is the spitting image of a slow loris. It's really, if you put the picture of Joe and a slow loris together, you cannot tell the difference. So
I need
if
to
you're
do
looking for inspiration,
Joe Sloris.
yeah, she would be Dolores if she was a slow loris. That's her character's
Dolores.
name. Yeah.
Dolores.
So if you're looking for if you're looking for
I
new
think
animals,
I need to do a slow loris.
there's an
Joe
example
the
right
slow
above your
loris.
head, right there.
It could just be
Oh my
like the
God.
face with the eyes.
Here, give you.
Yeah.
Here,
You
this will
venomous
inspire
little primate,
Do
you.
a side by side here. See
The
Look
little
at that.
fire flame. Oh, so cute. So perfect. Uncanny.
Oh, who is who? Who
Is it like
who?
staring into a mirror, Joe?
It really is.
And that's why she's petting it and saying sweet lovelies into its ears.
Self-love.
Yeah.
You're doing your affirmations to yourself via the
You
slow
are
loris,
beautiful.
which I
You are
appreciate.
powerful. You are perfect.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
the only venomous primate out there. So, take that, world, Joe.
See, she
Yeah,
knows.
exactly.
Look, right there.
Your poison pits, baby.
Yep.
I hate that we already knew that.
I know.
We did know
I've done
about the
way
pit
too
thing.
much research.
And it's like, that's the thing, too. We learned that the sad thing is, like, people love when they see all those clips of the slow loris doing this because they think, oh, the slow loris wants you to hug it. Oh, the slow loris is saying, yay, I have a great existence. No, it's feeling threatened, and its poison things have been taken out, and so all it's got is this, but it doesn't have any weapon anymore, and it's just trying to kill you.
Or their little needle-like teeth. They take out their teeth so they can't, do the damage, and that's
I didn't know
terrible.
that part either.
Oh yeah,
boy.
yeah. They'll file down or take them out. Yeah,
Well, no wonder they're
it's really
slow.
terrible. That happens a lot with That's why I talk a lot about the pet trade and how primates make terrible pets. Don't get them. Same with capuchin monkeys. They'll either remove their canines or grind them down, and because they're those canines are meant to do some damage, and you could be the recipient of said damage. And so what they do is they just remove them
Oh
or
my
sand them
God.
down. But then
I grind my own teeth at night.
Oh,
I'm like
boy.
destroying myself.
Every time you put deodorant on, you're hurting your own natural defense.
God.
But now
Oh,
she's not
too
gonna wear
much
deodorant
self-loathing.
I know, right? Exactly. Let yourself just fully embrace you, Joe.
I know.
All the
Well,
the
do you,
my journey.
cusps.
do you have
and the-
anything Loris related?
I do
Since you
not.
seem to be the queen of segs today.
No, unfortunately I don't. But you have some good human related stories.
Well, this
You had
first.
a good Gainimal one that I was like,
Oh,
super
yeah.
into
I
if
love
you're- if
this
you're
one.
into
And
that.
it was one of those we had for a while, and I put it on the side and waited for you to come back into my loving arms because you were the only person that could really speak about it. This is like. I thought there were other theories about this as well, but I don't know. This one seems to be the latest, if not the best. There's an evolutionary advantage to homosexuality in mammals. Now they tell me. The case has been made that sexual behavior between those of the same sex is non-adaptive, meaning there's no evolutionary advantage. But that's not true, according to new research that finds that behavior witnessed across at least 1,500 animal species, from crickets to dolphins to deer. Also a popular children's book waiting to be made, could help groups get along. Clearly very important to survival. Researchers at the Spanish National Research Council at the University of Granada compiled a database of information on same-sex behavior amongst 261 mammals and found that it often occurs in species who live in groups with high social interaction. They argue that behavior might have evolved to help form bonds and reduce intrasexual aggression. First time I've ever said that. And conflict, which threatens to tear a group apart. Primatologist Christine Webb, I bet you know her. I'm starting to realize that primatology is a smaller community than I once thought, who was not involved in the research, agrees. Quote, sexual behavior between same-sex partners seems to function in order to mitigate social tension. African lions who travel together and each help each other to survive while also mounting each other and sort of bonding in more physical ways. It's still a little vague. This study found males and females were basically equally likely to be spotted engaging in same-sex sexual behavior, though the behavior was limited to only one sex among certain species. Researchers caution same-sex sexual behavior in animals is more different than in humans, a subject the study does not explore. What does this make sense to you? I still feel like, I don't know, it
Yeah.
seems a little vague.
So yeah, no, I actually did a podcast about this earlier. It came out this fall or late summer for Scientific American, because I actually volunteer at an animal sanctuary where there is a lesbian monkey love triangle.
Oh, I love it.
It's not a threesome. They make loves separately, and it's the ringleader is a young white-faced capuchin named Bailey, and her two paramours are Haley and Macy, and one is a more dominant female, the other one is more subordinate, and so her pleasuring each of these ladies, which she's kind of learned from watching themselves pleasure themselves, or watching them pleasure themselves, she basically, when she wants to sort of feel dominant and kind of feel like she's in charge, she'll, mate and get down with Haley. And then if she wants to basically kind of butter the biscuits of the dominant one to get in good with her, in her good graces, she'll get with Macy. And she has all sorts of moves, a lot of things that would resemble a reach around, because capuchin monkeys have what is called a hypertrophied clitoris. It's basically a pseudo penis, so it looks like a miniature. All clitorises look like a miniature wang, but this is more formidable. It has a bit more of a tip, and so
or all
they can
clitorises
do
just
these
look like
reach
Steve's
arounds.
penis.
Pardon?
Or all clitorises just look like Steve's penis.
As
it is.
I've never,
Huge?
huge, just ginormous, just swinging to and fro. I actually just made new stickers up that said spider monkeys are lit with a hypertrophied clit. I'm a weirdo, but I actually studied spider monkeys, and they have a very big, pronounced pseudo penis. They have a very high clitoracy rate. Males do not have to ask for directions. It's all out there.
Well, then,
Should've been a capuchin
wait,
monkey.
but that almost makes sense because, apparently us women have penis envy, us Homo sapiens. So I guess maybe these monkeys don't have so much penis envy because they got a little of their own.
Yeah. And they also, I mean, again, like sexuality is incredibly fluid. So it seems as though they also get to flex their dominant side. They don't have to kind of fit into some sort of, there's not gender roles, in non-human primates. And gender, to be very clear, is a social construct. There are many people throughout the world in all times of history that don't subscribe to these Western ideas of gender roles. But there also was a study that came out this past summer too about male macaque monkeys on Cayo Santiago, an island off the coast of Puerto Rico, where they found that it was about 270 males they were watching, and 76% of them were mounting each other. So a lot of homosexual activity, and only about 25% were mounting females. And they found that the males that had more male on male action had a slightly higher amount of offspring. And the thought process there is that perhaps by, again, buttering the male's biscuits, and maybe you're buttering the biscuits of an alpha, that they would possibly let you have more access to females and not sort of cock block you when you're trying to get with the other ladies. And so there's an evolutionary advantage to basically keeping the peace, and keeping the peace can be, shown in many different ways. And sexual behavior is a great way to sort of, relax any sort of tension. If you want me to talk about bonobos, we can get into that, because they're a great example of how they use sexual activity to sort of diffuse any tension.
You are the one that taught me that bonobos, I can never pronounce it correctly. I always say bonobos.
Like
Bonobos.
Bono.
Yeah, I'd say, yeah.
Bonobos.
I always think that they're into charity and Irish. But you're the one that taught me that they are the super freaks of
Yeah, I mean, but are they
primatology.
though? You know what I mean? Like, what's so freaky about it? That's why
Yeah,
I
no
think
judgment.
humans have put,
Yeah.
right? Like humans really do put this sort of moral value on sex that is, it's so funny because we were talking about I did a live stream recently. We were talking about body counts, and I'm like, body counts is just job experience for the job that you're looking for, which is to be somebody's partner that has sex with them.
I
And I
love it.
can't imagine like, a bonobo going, "Excuse me, Steve, how many partners have you had?" Because like I have a cap.
Yeah.
It's more like, the more the merrier, because that is, what you're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so bonobos, chimpanzees and bonobos are our closest genetic relatives. We split from a common ancestor with them about 6 million years ago. And then around the 2 million years ago, they split and formed two different species, chimps and bonobos. And it's thought that the Congo River system literally divided them. And so chimps are on one side, bonobos are on the other side of this river system. And chimpanzees are known for a lot of violence and aggression, although there is a lot of cooperation. I don't want to give them, just totally stain their reputation, but they can be quite loving as well. But they can be a bit more aggressive.
They scare the shit out of me.
Bonobos, though. Pardon?
They scare the shit out of me. I mean,
should.
When I think of,
They should.
I can't look at anybody that's God forbid, has said something wrong with their face and not think, I wonder if a chimp did that. I wonder if a chimp poked out their eyes. I wonder if it ripped off. And what do? They go for the eyes, and then the next thing they do, they go for the dick, and they rip off the balls.
I think they go for the balls almost first. The
Yeah,
soft and the squishies, where get you where you're vulnerable.
Yeah,
and they don't
that's-
have any clothes to sort of package up, right?
Yeah,
Like
goodness.
it's unwrapped. It's right
Yeah.
there. Good to go. But yeah, and bonobos are known for diffusing all tension through sexual contact and connection, whether it's males and females getting down, and but it's not just the males and females. Females will do a thing called GG rubbing, where they rub their JFKs together. Think primate scissoring. Males will do sword fights or penis fencing, which is actually the scientific term. And
I'm trying to think about where the fun is in that one.
Yeah.
The scissoring, sure. I've got a Pornhub account, but the penis sorting, fighting, I don't get the.
Hey,
the
don't
point of
knock
that.
it till you
Wait.
try it, Bill.
Maybe I have not
do
found
you
a
need
partner.
an account to watch Pornhub? I didn't think you needed an account. What is that? Do you pay for Pornhub? Wow.
Oh,
I just
Bill,
said
they
it in my
swindled
old man
you.
voice. I'm on the interwebs and I see the scissor on scissor action that the kids are into. I know what's up.
These ladies like. Yeah, and the penis fencing, I think, is just, I don't know. I joke that it's rubbing tummy sticks together. But they also do a thing where they rub their balls against another male's butt, and that will get their jollies off. But I interviewed
makes more sense.
researcher Amy Parrish, who is a bonobo expert, and she said that a lot of times females will show preference to mate with other females rather than than males, because they're guaranteed to get their rocks off with a female rather than a male, and males actually, bonobo males have pretty substantial weens as far as non-human primates go, and their balls are, I think, about 15% larger than chimpanzees, or 10%, because of the amount of promiscuity. Because usually, the larger the testicles, meaning the more male-male competition, and probably higher sperm quality, because you're competing with other males at such a high level that you just want to have good sperm quality and a lot of it.
Now, it's true that human males, not to brag, that we have the largest members per our overall size of the primate community? Are the bonobos?
Congratulations.
Thank you. I don't know, look, we're just living our best
You're a winner.
primate lives. But would bonobos be second?
They'd probably be up there. Yeah. Definitely a lot higher up there than, like, say, a gorilla, which has an 1.5-inch long baloney pony. So
it's hilarious.
Yeah.
You see why they look so angry all the time.
I know, that's what I joke. King Kong is no King Dong, and that's why he's so pissed. It's just not. But I wanted to point out too that humans, what also makes your ween so special, Bill, and congratulations, is you don't actually have a penis bone. Most non-human primates have what is called a baculum, or bacula for plural,
weird.
not to be confused with Scott. Don't make that quantum leap.
Oh, God.
I know, it's terrible. But yeah, so it's actually called an os penis, and most non-human primates have it. Spider monkeys don't have it. Humans don't have it. So
and spider monkeys were always your main subject of choice, correct?
Well, I wanted to be a gorilla researcher. That was my first love, was Grauer's gorillas. But when I graduated from undergrad in 2008, I was going to go do research and also do like volunteer work in DRC and teach folks how to make compost burning briquettes to sort of curb the illegal charcoal harvesting happening in Virunga. But right at that time, that area sort of imploded sociopolitically. And so they were like, "You're a liability. We can't have you come." It was disappointing for everyone, because I was excited. They were excited. And so I pivoted and studied spider monkeys, and I was able to stay in conservation, because that was my big thing. Was I love behavioral studies, but it's like you can't do behavioral studies if your species is extinct. So my big thing was about conservation and really working to conserve the species we already have. And also I would like to point out that primate conservation specifically, is a very selfish endeavor, because as we're conserving them, we're also kind of conserving ourselves. You know?
Sort of on, this is a great segue.
We'll be the judge of that.
More sex. Plastic waste is turning tiny marine animals off sex. The World Economic Forum warns there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish by 2050. Plastics are quite literally everywhere, and now a new study suggests common plastic additives are turning shrimp-like crustaceans off sex. These creatures are commonly found on European shores, where they make up a substantial amount of the diet of fish and birds. If they are compromised, it will have an effect on the whole food chain. They go on to talk about the chemicals that are regulated and not allowed to be used in products in Europe. Animals they tested were exposed to much higher concentrations than you would normally find in the environment, results indicating these chemicals can affect sperm count. Such findings add to mounting research suggesting that long-term exposure to plastics and their additives is having an impact on animal health, and we're yet to see the full consequences of. Natalia, I mean, you don't study tiny shrimps, but are you seeing this in other animals, in primates? Does the environment impact fertility and sexual proclivities?
And a follow-up question, Joanne owns a lot of Tupperware. Is that why she doesn't like sex?
Depends what
That's not what I heard. No, just no. Well, plastics. What was it? What was the line in The Graduate? The future. It's all about plastics.
Yeah, boy. He was quietly killing us.
I mean, we know that things like bath beads or the little, micro beads and stuff like that has also done massive damage to the oceans. But there was a recent article that came out about pesticides and the effect on human sperm counts, and that sperm counts and sperm, because it's not just about, like I said, it's not just about sperm count, it's sperm quality. You know what I mean? It's quality over quantity, really. because at the end of the day, to fertilize an egg, the sperm has to be of good enough quality. And then you also just want it to be good quality because you want good outcomes, genetically speaking. And they found that I don't know, I don't have it in front of me, but there was an article that said that those that were sort of exposed to high amounts of pesticide were showing lower sperm count over time, and that could be something that we might see in agricultural areas, or any areas of the world where that sort of runoff in the water could be getting into the the water system and affecting sperm counts over time. So that's something to look at, that we could be affected. I mean, honestly, that you don't want that, but at the same time, it's not like there's a shortage of humans.
Right.
It's not like we're like, gosh darn it, Although we know that population or childbirth counts are going down in places like Europe, where we're actually seeing a decline in population, which is not the end of the world per se at this point, but you still want, again, the good quality sperm, because you want to make sure that your offspring are going to be have a good fighting chance.
I think
So,
this makes so much sense. I'm sorry to interrupt, but like just all of these things, and also just the stuff that like, it's almost like cliche and stuff like that, but like just the preservatives that's in certain types of food now that we didn't even have 50 years ago and things like that. It's going to do something physiologically to us. To me, this makes total sense.
Yeah. I mean, the whole idea of you are what you eat kind of taken to the nth degree. And obviously these poor little shrimp dudes are not like, yeah, get me some plastic. Yeah. They just can't,
they have no choice.
It's just in the water, and that's the scary thing is it's just wild, the amount of damage that has been done in the past, 200 years, really, or 150 years, really, since the Industrial Revolution, the one in the late 1800s, what we've kind of done to pollute the oceans, because we're seeing, massive die-offs in certain parts of the ocean and affecting, there actually was another article we were looking at about, there's a certain area in the ocean at a certain depth where actually a lot of marine life are hanging out, like super, super deep. And I can imagine part of it is to get the hell away from us and get away maybe from some of the pollution that maybe hasn't reached those depths, or at least might be a little bit more, minimized. So I don't know. I think there's going to be more examples of animals that are affected by what the chemicals that we're producing and emitting into the environment, because everything, that's why, like, even I can briefly talk about permafrost, what's happening there too with the permafrost that's melting because of climate change.
Sure.
This is scary as shit. So basically it's the permafrost melting is caused by climate change, and then it melting is actually causing more climate change, because as the permafrost melts, all the organic material that's caught in the permafrost that could not decompose because it was frozen is now decomposing. And what happens when something decomposes? It releases a ton of greenhouse gases. So then that accelerates climate change. And not just that, but they're also finding like zombie viruses that are waking up, and bacteria that they've already found are antibiotic resistant. So it is kind of like another horror film, like In the Waiting, or we think about climate change and how maybe diseases are coming further north, like Zika or dengue or yellow fever, coming to higher latitudes because it's getting warmer. But we forget that the permafrost has trapped a lot of pathogens that are just now getting a chance to wake up and get us.
Oh my God, the next pandemic is just bubbling under the surface somewhere in Siberia, waiting to come out.
Bill, your favorite mythical creature, the woolly mammoth.
Not mythical.
Yeah.
I heard.
Believe it because it's not in the Bible.
I was at a cocktail party, weird conversation to have, but this guy was saying how one of the reasons, and correct me if I'm wrong, one of the reasons why they want to clone the woolly mammoth is so that they can help with this issue. Is like something about their weight and their existence would help, like stomp the ice
keep
back
it frozen.
together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, no, it's a great point, because and there's a lot of arguing in the scientific community about the merits or benefits or problematic nature of bringing back the woolly mammoth, because we're bringing back a in theory, and we can't technically clone it, and I'll get to that in a second, but bringing back the woolly mammoth in a time where the climate's just warming, right? Like they went extinct during the Ice Age. that, that was far colder back then, and now it's only warming now. But yeah, the idea is that they could sort of keep the permafrost from melting.
Oh
And
my
they
God,
wouldn't be
that's
able to
fascinating.
technically clone it. What they'd have to do is, it's really cool technology. It's called CRISPR-Cas9 technology, and they would be able to take DNA from the woolly mammoth that they can extract through ancient DNA extraction, and they could splice in the traits that are more woolly mammoth like more adipose tissue, so better fat reserves, hairiness, size, and splice it into its closest genetic relative, living relative, which is the Asian elephant. So they would basically make a hybrid of an Asian elephant and a woolly mammoth. So it would never technically be a clone, because
Yeah.
you need actually like viable DNA to do that. I mean, it's fascinating and it's cool, but it's also like, there's so many species that are on the brink of extinction that you could use this technology to sort of bring back from the brink.
Yeah.
And they're also looking at more recent species like the thylacine, the Tasmanian tiger, and bringing that back, and basically, things that went extinct in the last 100, 200 years due to over, hunting by humans.
The
But yeah, I mean, they
Tasmanian
could,
tiger makes total sense because the last one was alive until about the 1920s or something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's actual
Pictures.
film of them.
Yeah.
At the last one that ever lived in some Australian zoo. Oh, I love all of that so much, and I'm not even joking when I say really the only thing that's keeping me alive. The only reason I still get up every day is because I want to be alive when that first goddamn hairy elephant comes off the finishing line. And I want to be able to see that before I leave this moral coil. I just want that to happen. And I do feel like that is a possibility within my very shortened lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, there very well could be. The only thing that this is another ethical moment of like, because by the way, I remember I did a story about this because they cloned Barbara Streisand's dog in the
Yes.
beginning of, I think, 2019.
Oh, God, yeah.
2018. Yeah, because I did a podcast with Star Talk. I interviewed, oh God, was it
The dog?
No, not the dog. Oh, dear Lord. No, I interviewed the curator of mammalogy, was it Ross McPhee at AMNH? Brilliant scientist, but about bringing back the mammoth. And we
I
talked
have
about
to
also
listen to
the ethical implications, because they've tried to do this with monkeys, cloning monkeys, and a lot of them die. A lot of them don't make it. They'll live like a few days, or like they
Yeah.
die in utero, or they, so there might be a lot of mammoth attempts, which is also really, we don't have a lot of Asian elephants to put at risk, right? Like they're threatened.
True.
So,
Yeah.
because they would have to gestate this woolly mammoth, and if something went wrong, because my other favorite question was like, well, can they bring back the giant ground sloth? And it's like, well,
There
you
she is.
could, but what would you have to gestate a giant ground sloth in? The closest genetic relative, which is a living sloth, and they're about yay big, you know what I mean? And a giant ground sloth is giant, so they would just kind of pop, just kind of,
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So-
now, if I've said it once, I've said it a million times. You got to break a couple of Asian elephant eggs to make a woolly mammoth omelet. And I don't think I'm the first to say that, but it's absolutely true, They can't all be perfect little hairy elephant embryos, all right? Mistakes will be made.